Hey everyone, how's it going? It's Thomas back at you with another video. And today we've kind of got some international news. This is going to involve Bitcoin. And essentially what's happened is El Salvador has decided to make Bitcoin its national currency. This news came out a few days ago. It was announced a while ago that it was going to be put to vote in their Congress. And only a couple days ago, like maybe I don't know the exact amount of days ago, but a couple days ago they passed it, and as of now, it is recognized as the national currency in El Salvador. And this is kind of a double-edged sword here. We could be looking at this in a good way or in a bad way, and there's a couple reasons for this. Now, the big thing to say here is El Salvador has been relatively unstable with their currency. And so, as if I'm not mistaken, they tend to get a lot of the currency in the country is usually transferred or wired in from various other countries to citizens living there. And a majority of citizens in El Salvador do not possess bank accounts. It's a very cash carry sort of country. So most citizens don't have a bank account and most of them don't have credit cards. And so this switch to Bitcoin could drastically change that, as now there's obviously no physical currency to carry. And so it's going to have to, there's going to be other ways for the citizens to find how they're going to be paying. And essentially, a lot of them will be paying through an app, either Coinbase or whatever it is they use. And so that's not so much the issue. Now, the issue that they do face is, for starters, the World Bank has rejected to help them for two reasons. Mainly, the first being that it's environmentally unfriendly, according to them. There's some issues with that. And their other issue was the transparency of using it. As most of you know, Bitcoin, the owner of it cannot be tracked. Mostly there's a certain coding that goes through the blockchain, but that coding is not specified to the owner. And so there's no way to say who had what, which is a big thing as far as currency goes. If you're running a currency in your country or really anywhere, you want to know where it is that's coming from, where it is it's going, because this opens the door to a lot of possible illegal practices. It opens the door to corruption. There's a lot of things that could go wrong here. And now I myself am not very familiar with El Salvador's politics, so I'm not necessarily going to expand on that. I don't know. But this could be a good thing. Now, with the World Bank rejecting it, it does pose a problem with El Salvador just trying to get more of the Bitcoin in circulation, trying to get it processed through other countries so that they can continue to use it as a medium of exchange. But the thing with that is, so if you're not able to put it into other countries, that is a problem. El Salvador is relatively a smaller nation with a smaller economy than most other countries. And so they do rely on external input and output from other countries in order to sustain their economy, as do many other countries. And so with the inability to use this Bitcoin as a medium of exchange, it could pose some problems. Now, there are countries that will take it. Almost all will, but without the World Bank, it does cause some issues as far as being able to just exchange it goes. Now, the other thing that I want to point out, more specifically, this is me having a statement about this. If El Salvador can pull this off, I think it'd be really good. So this is Bitcoin over the past year or so, and it's drastically jumped. We hit a high at right about here at about 63,000, give or take. And now it's a bit down again. And I'm not saying El Salvador is necessarily going to drive this up. It really depends. It's only been a couple days, and so we'll have to see what exactly happens as far as them using it. But let's say that one way or another, what I think will happen is that maybe they will succeed, maybe they will not. That's not really the point. The point is that in the event that they do implement this successfully, it becomes more of a medium of exchange in their country. I think other smaller nations will start to do this as well. There's a lot of unstable currencies out in the world, and a lot of countries have this practice of not using their own currency, but rather using a different one, such as I can't remember the exact name, but there's a process where a majority of countries will use the US dollar rather than their own just because of the stability of the dollar. But if more countries branch out and use something like Bitcoin as their new medium of exchange, as the official one, I think that this could open the door for the price of Bitcoin to go up quite a bit again, especially if it's used on a global scale in a e-commerce and a manufacturing way. Because as of right now, it's not necessarily a medium of exchange. It's a medium of exchange for other forms of currency, but not so much for products. There's some companies that do accept it, but the majority do not. And the reason for this is really the one thing I want to point out is it's just such a volatile currency. So right here, this is the transaction fee per day chart of Bitcoin. And if we look at right about here, it's at it peaked at about almost 300, 299. So right now, transactional fees about $39, and that's per Bitcoin. And so the fee that is accumulated with using this is just substantially high right now. I don't know if it's going to be an ideal system. And another thing with that is the blockchain network itself, as it's a good system, but I don't know if it's good on the global economy scale, because when there's a transaction, they're going to have to process the cost. It's going to go to a miner who's going to affirm that code. It's going to be sent back. They're going to take a small portion of the cost in there because of the work they did. By that time, it's just going to, the value of the coin for one is going to go down. It's not consistent, which is a problem. And I feel like this is kind of a problem that I think El Salvador was facing beforehand, where they just had volatility in their currency. And no currency is 100% stable, but the fact that Bitcoin changes so frequently by like minute per minute basis, this is not something that changes on the week. Every minute, it's more or less a different price than it was before. So if you were to go and buy something, could potentially be overpaying or underpaying based on the point that you go to checkout. And I think that's going to be a serious problem because it doesn't give any true value to what it is that you're buying. It's so probable. And another thing with this is, so with more people getting in on the market, I think this will help this problem, but there's still a lot of whales who own Bitcoin and many other cryptos. If at any point these whales decide that they want to sell, they don't want to have any more part in this, then it's going to be pretty devastating for the currency overall, especially for the economy of El Salvador. If at one point all the whales decide that they want to sell on that particular day, the currency is going to drop drastically in price. And so the economy is going to take a hit as if the stock market crashed for them. I think that volatility is just such a big problem. And so, the World Bank, they have their reasons for rejecting, and whether or not they're true, I mean, that doesn't really matter to me. My concern is that it's very volatile. It's a very uncertain thing. And it just seems to me like, it's a good idea in practice. I think crypto should become more of a medium of exchange since it is a form of cash. But I think that the volatility involved in this, now Bitcoin's one of the most stable ones just because of the volume that's out there. I mean, if we were trading with something more like Litecoin or Dogecoin, then we'd have a whole other conversation to have. I don't even think it'd be possible to use those as a medium of exchange. But because Bitcoin's the most stable, it's the most preferable. But on the other hand, it's also very volatile. the fact that something changes minute per minute doesn't make it an ideal medium of exchange, in my opinion. And, again, it's the transactional fees too. So even when you process the cost and everything that goes through, you're losing money based on the coin's value alone. So for one, I don't think the blockchain network essentially can handle the traffic that is to come, because it's going to be like running on slow internet. You could pay more to speed it up, but then that devalues the currency even more than before. So as opposed to waiting 5 minutes for your transaction to process, you're going to wait 1 minute, but you're going to pay twice as much because you wanted it now, which makes sense. But it seems like it's not an ideal system in the long run. And so I do have my concerns with that. Now, like I said before, if this takes off, this could be a really good thing. So I myself, I have a little bit of an investment in Bitcoin. I'm not the biggest believer in it just because of the volatility. I'm not very volatile inclined. I like safer investments. However, for those of you that do like Bitcoin and that do like crypto, I think this is going to be big. El Salvador is probably just the first one. I think there's going to be a lot of other countries that are going to follow in this because, there's currently countries that use either, they use English pounds or they use US dollars or Canadian dollars, whatever it is. They will probably want to switch to another medium that's not necessarily controlled by one country. And so, this could provide more stability. I think it could be a good thing. And if that's the case, we're going to expect a spike one way or another. So, because as of right now, it's just that, it's kind of on a low end, but the reality is that it's got to go up. And, it doesn't seem like it has to, it doesn't seem like it's probable, but the demand is going to be there. So one way or another, this demand is going to have to be filled. And so with that, we're going to expect an increase in the amount of Bitcoin circulating. And we're going to probably experience an increase in the price as well as the stability, because the more that there is, the less that it's influenced by other things. The big thing is that if the whales are the ones that control the majority of it, that's where I think a problem comes in. But nonetheless, we shall have to see what happens. It's a very interesting situation. And, I'm excited to see how this turns out. If other countries start doing this, I might have a different outlook on this in a while. I'm just very uncertain of what to expect right now. But I do think we can expect something very interesting to come. And so, I think we shall have to see. So that's going to conclude this video. Let me know what you guys think, whether I'm right, maybe I'm wrong. Give me your thoughts in the comments. And, let me know what you want to see. I try to make videos to that appeal to you guys. I like to talk about finance, but I want to inform you guys the best that I can with everything. And so let me know what you think. Make sure to like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications for more videos. And I will see you guys all very soon.